Is the bull slingshot loading for Bitcoin and altcoins? We saw a little bit of a Bitcoin pump today, a little bit of an altcoin pump too that is given up by more economic news coming out of Donald Trump and the administration. We've got to talk about these targets and what's going on. I think a lot of people are getting fatigued. Everybody's a little worried right now because it's not just going up and to the right. We're having some consolidation on price action. We have a lot of signs and signals that everything that we've been waiting for is still on the way. But the question is, will you be around to realize those gains? Are you still stacking in? Are you capitulating? Are you worrying yourself over just the nonsense of the price just not moving up right now? We've got all this to talk about and more. We're going to be looking at charts, data, TA, technical analysis on your favorite altcoins and what is happening next. So as we get ready to do this, everybody hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, ding the bell, and get involved because we're about to dive into this. Let me know if you are alive, if your fingers are working. Type something in the live chat. I want to see all of you getting active in the live chat, whether you're on X or here on YouTube. I am just retweeting this out over on Academy BitLab and on Kellam because we got some stuff that we got to talk about some stuff today, baby. It's the end of the week and it's one day closer to having that ultimate upside. The question is going to be, when does it come? So with that being said, let's get into it, everybody. I love you. I appreciate you. I did a members stream this morning. So if you are a BitLab member in the Discord or here on YouTube, you should have seen that. I had it listed as public for about 10 minutes. So if you had your if you're subscribed and had your notifications on here on YouTube, you would have seen it. But Bitcoin pump, altcoin pump, when is this slingshot coming? Because it's getting more and more compressed, and I do think a big move is coming. So everybody, let's get into it. It's coming. I know you've been told that. I know you've been wanting it. The Bitcoin major pump is coming. The question is going to be, when is it going to happen? There's so much loaded up expectation on every move right now that people are frustrated. It's not just going up. I thought it was going to go up if we got in, blah, blah, blah. This part of the cycle. Well, things are changing on a daily basis right now with what's going on in this market because of the new administration, because of the new framework and potential regulations that could come in support of the market, clear the way. Operation Choke Point 2.0 starting to get brought front and center by the Senate Banking Committee. Also understanding what's going on with the regulations that are going to make it more doable, more easily implementable for banks and corporations. Movements by regulators, new SEC, new Secretary of Treasury, new everything in this market. We just saw some stuff today on the economic traditional finance sector that did bring a little bit of a damper on that little short-term little baby pump we had. But I'm wondering right now, how many of you saw that little pump, the small little pump, and jumped in on a leverage long? If you jumped in on a leverage long on that tiny little baby pump, especially if you didn't have a stop loss, you're not setting yourself up for a win. So get these balls too. From X says K, our markets. Kelly, our market Binance market makers dumping to eat up liquidity and minimizing their risk. If so, well, Marty Party Music has been sharing a lot of stuff between Binance, Wintermute, a very large market maker, showing that there's been some manipulation pushing price around right now. But there's data even within all of this. There is data that's suggesting the bullish outlook is getting stronger for the right people. The question is, are you a right person? And that is determined by whether or not you are a retail dumb money participant. And this is determined by your actions in the market, not by how much you have. You could have $10, 10 million, or 10 billion. The actions in the market that you're taking right now will determine if you're smart money or dumb money. Now, the longer and more consistently that you're a smart money, then the better your portfolio and the profits that you'll be able to gain in this market will be. So the question is, are you dumb money or smart money? Are you selling in fear and then buying the hype? Or are you seeing fear in the market, adjusting your time horizon and taking shots in the market, taking advantage of those lower prices when everybody else is scared? So with that being said, welcome to the show. My name's Kellam. It is Friday, February 7th. We got to dive into this, guys, because the market is providing us some signs and signals, and it feels so frustrating. But it's because we're looking at the chart like this on 15 minutes, and we're excited, we're scared, we're excited, we're scared, we're excited, we're scared. Stop that. Let's right now, until we get some confirmations on directions, zoom out a little bit. This is still very much in play. This, what I drew, I think 2 days ago, this is still very much in play. We very well could get this washout, especially with the exhaustion that's come into the market over the last 2 months. The fact that it's sitting at this level is frustrating people that are acting with the dumb money mentality. Are you dumb money? I don't even like that name. I like that name I dislike that name so much that I will not allow myself to be dumb money. We've got to be smart here. So coming back over, just looking, I mean, $3.2 trillion. Nothing really has changed. Still hovering at the $2 trillion range for Bitcoin. Still, I mean, way down. 70 billion. Yeah, almost $70 billion down on Ethereum. It was up to 400. Now it's back down to about 330. XRP is 142 billion. Solana under 100 billion again. BNB 80 billion. Dogecoin 37. Blah, 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 blah. We just overstimulate ourselves with trying to find all this. But then we see, why do I always get the hiccups right at the start of the show? I don't know. But we saw this move. Let's go to the 7-minute. We saw this move, and it felt so good. We're back above 100. Look at this. Tapped right. Look at this. The candle on the 7-minute didn't even close above 100,000. Boom, popped up there, and then got immediately sold off. Well, why? What could it be the reason? Well, when you look at the data, we also see that the S&P 500 posted a minus 70-point reversal after Trump says that he plans to issue reciprocal tariffs as early as today. Could be, effective next week, but there's also a few minutes before the European markets close. Remember, they're many hours ahead. But this caused a little bit of shakeup in the market. The certainty, uncertainty, blah, blah, blah. Bitcoin and the crypto market are tied to that certainty or uncertainty. But what's going on right now? There's bullishness. Trump media registers TruthFi Made in America ETF, Made in America SMA, Energy Independence ETF, a Bitcoin Plus ETF. This is not just World Liberty Fi, but it's also DJT, the Trump Media Group, and TruthFi. They are doing everything they can to take advantage of what's coming. The fact that we haven't got the strategic Bitcoin reserve finalized is irrelevant. We know it's in the pipeline, and we know the players are there to see that it does happen. The number of states that are working towards it, the number of international players, both on the corporate level, the sovereign level, and royal families, in Saudi Arabia, people are stacking. And we know this because retail is exhausted right now. We just had the biggest washout in the market that we've ever seen, bigger than FTX, bigger than when Luna collapsed. And yet the price is still holding in the same range around $100,000. And you're scared, you're bearish right now. This is a dream of an opportunity, so long as you don't need it to happen in the next 3 days, the next month, the next 2 months. It might take throughout this entire year of trading sideways, chopping people out. Maybe even having a little bit of a sell-off. We might not even have a top this year with the way this is flowing out, where we potentially get a market cycle top sometime in 2026 or even beyond. The size of the players that are coming into this market is so overwhelmingly bullish for those people that can act on the smart money principles, which is being able to buy the fear and hold until you're able to realize the time horizon you're looking for to realize profits, especially as these major players come in. Now, there's some other things at play that I think is really interesting. And Matt Hogan is it right here? Let me see. Matt Hogan. This is a COO of Bitwise, I believe, or CEO or COO, something like that. CEO, yeah. There's an absolute massive disconnect between retail and professional sentiment in crypto right now. In fact, it's felt like it feels like the price crashed 70% in Bitcoin. But the problem is this. Retail sentiment is the worst it's been in years, while professional investors, smart money, are extraordinarily bullish, and they're coming in droves. I've spoken to some of these CEOs. I've spoken to some of these top level devs. I've interviewed and had panel discussions on the Mario Nawfal channel. There is so much on the horizon, and that horizon is only getting bigger and including more people on it in terms of what their plans and their actions are going to be moving into this market. So what are we doing about this? When we come in and we look at this, this is one of the reasons everybody wants the alt season. And I think we still may get an alt-ish season, but it's this. This is from Miles Deutscher. Remove the phrase alt season from your vocabulary. You'll be much better for it. Everybody's expecting it. In November, memes had an alt season. In December, AI had an alt season. In January, agents had an alt season. In February, the RWA is starting to get a little bit of a, the sort of alt vibes, a capital focus. This isn't an up-only market, at least at this moment. There are a lot of opportunities to make money, but it's sector specific. If your system relies on up-only, this might be a different cycle, especially with all the capital coming in. There's no new retail that's really coming into this market right now. Very, very small amounts. In fact, the interest is near, record-ish lows for where we're at in the cycle. But we're seeing whales stacking in like you wouldn't believe over the last 6 months. We're seeing the number of accumulation addresses explode. We're seeing this permanent holder bias, which is a positive thing. People that are buying and are set up to essentially never sell. It's incredible. And the altcoin sector, memes have taken all this degen focus that we typically have seen in the altcoin sector. So it feels like what's happening right now, people are waiting on the clarity of what's happening with Bitcoin. They're steadily stacking into that. And there's other sub niches within the altcoin ecosystem that are more likely than not going to dominate. And I got tired of some of my stuff bleeding. So what do? Sometimes you cut your losers and you stack into your winners. So as I mentioned in the member stream this morning, I sold out of AIXBT. I sold out of Sharp AI. They were both down, 40%, 50%, something like that. But I added them all of it. Those two coins, I added all of that capital yesterday on that little dip that we had on ONDO. I added to ONDO. I think ONDO is going to be a capital-focused coin for large players, institutions. In fact, World Liberty Fi also bought, I think, $500,000 worth or 500,000 ONDO tokens. We're seeing if there is going to be a Wall Street 2.0 where the majority or a major section of world markets get tokenized on chain and they're doing it through ONDO, that is going to attract so much capital focus into that. And ONDO is at 4.8 something billion dollar market cap. If this goes away, and it's not going to happen specifically this year, it will happen over the next period, whatever that period is. But I could see ONDO kind of at a minimum of $100 billion market cap, let alone, getting up into the 150, 200, 300 billion over time. But we're going to have to see how this plays out. But that's why I'm taking focused shots. I've narrowed down the portfolio over time, addressing my thoughts on the space from previous cycles and having to adapt and adjust my strategy for where I think this cycle and the capital focus is going to be. If you're not adaptable in this market and willing to adjust, then you're not going to make it. And that's what we're here for. I want to make sure you all make it in this market. Now, coming back into this, we got some charts. We got some things that we got to cover. We got several hundred, 500-600 people tuned in right now. Shout out to each and every one of you. I hope you're all doing well. Let's get the data you need so we can stay on the right side of this trend. This is that other thing we were talking about, the alts, that sentiment retail's filling. Most retail is not Bitcoin focused. So when you realize this, and that majority of the alts peaked in March of 2024 and have made new lows and new lower highs since then in a lot of people's market portfolios, we're seeing Bitcoin explode up into that $100,000 level, yet people are acting like it's a bear market. And it's because of the way that their altcoin portfolios are positioned that they're wondering why it was high last, and you just can't get back there. It's because the capital attention right now is exhausted, it's frustrated, and the biggest players out there are so capital focused on Bitcoin and some key major areas of the market. So this is where this sentiment is coming from. And then we go on another step further and we see that we got still positive things coming out. And this coin here, where it feels like nobody focuses on, well, this will probably be an institutional focus for capital coming into this market. And James Seifert, for those of you that don't know, him and Eric Baltunas were the ones that, they work at Bloomberg, and they've been just on it with all the ETF news, making the calls about what's happening with crypto ETFs. And he suggests that, sticking to my call, that Litecoin will likely be the next digital asset to be approved by the SEC for a spot ETF. Now, there's a number of ETF applications out there with Solana, with crypto index stuff from like Franklin Templeton, which we'll get into in a second. Grayscale applications for a number of coins. We've got a lot of things on the horizon right now, and yet people are they want it now. Let's not be now. Let's prepare now. Let's do this. Who cares if the market is moving up now? Let's use now to stack into this market in areas that we think are going to have the capital focus moving forward. What are you doing right now? What are you stacking into? Or are you sad that the coins that you had are down? Who cares? Nobody's going to cry for you. We can't cry in this market. This market is for sharks and whales. And if you can't at least swim alongside them, you're just going to be plankton that's eaten up like a little bitch shrimp because you're not adapting to the market. Now, we are in this together, and that's why we stream here on almost a daily basis. And so when we see that things are still stacking in, guys, and then we see Franklin Templeton submits an amended S1 seeking approval for adding token to its Franklin crypto index. Currently, right now, this is Bitcoin and Ethereum, but they want to add certain other tokens to that index, aka traditional market. You can, rather than going into the crypto market, you can buy the Franklin Templeton crypto index and get your basket of exposure to Bitcoin, to Ethereum, to XRP, to Cardano, to whatever the basket ends up being. So you get a broader, almost indexed exposure to a wider section of the market rather than just Bitcoin. So this is amazing. The capital channels are only getting stronger, and people's sentiment's getting weaker right now. Let's not get weak. I had no extra coffee today. Actually, I had less. I used to get these venti quad shot mochas from Starbucks. Now I just get the grande and I only get a triple. I'm just hyped up because I get DMs, I get messages, I get private emails, I get text messages. People are frustrated. Realize that the frustration you're feeling in the market right now is a signal. If you can tune into the smart money approach, the frustration the market is feeling is presenting opportunities in this market for those that are willing to stack now versus needing the market to go up now. Can you imagine if you're able to take advantage of this every time it gets frustrating? Then you get to jump for joy when the market gets back to euphoric. And unfortunately, most people buy into the euphoria and they end up being your exit liquidity for when you take profits. And that's not what we're about. We're here to make money together. And that's just the nature of this market. Let's do this so we can change our lives, change our friends' lives, change our families' lives, change our future. Let's do this. And this is why we're still early. As bullish as all of us are, 71% of institutional investors have no plans to invest in Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies in 2025. 71%. We think this is everywhere. It's on every news. We're still so freaking early, man. Be in before those slow pokes figure it out. Figure out ways. I'm working extra contract stuff just to pull money in so I can be as cash poor as possible because I'm stacked. I don't know what your plan is, but I'm stacking everything I can along the way because that's my confidence level in this. And of course, we're all in different positions. Don't put yourself in a position where you can't pay rent or this or that. Make sure you take care of everything you need to, but figure out other ways that, whether it's an extra $5 a week, an extra $10, whether you're going to DoorDash, whatever it is. This is the time. This is the moment now. And yet people are frustrated that the market is giving us more time, baby. Let's be excited about that. Now, continuing on, what else we got? Not super chat. A member for 15 months. Falco, smash the like for a more caffeinated Kelly. Shout out to you, my friend. Thank you for being a member. Thank you to everybody that's a member here. I do love you. I do appreciate it. Anybody, by the way, again, we got like 45 or 50 something % of you that are watching on a daily basis. You're not subscribed. Come down here, hit that subscribe button, turn on the notifications, and you should see a little button there. It says join. It's about $1.25 a week. You get access to those jumpstart TA sessions we do in the morning with TA of what's going on in the market, and also, of course, you get the badge next to your name that fills up over time. You get the emojis and other things that we post in that member section there. And I'm going to be adding some more stuff to this. There's some really big integrations coming here in the next 2 weeks with what we're doing with Discover Crypto, with Blockchain Basement, kind of in a unified spot. So, but also hit that join button. Join us here in the fam. Now, what are we seeing? This is so god darn bullish. Bitcoin permanent holder demand is accelerating, aka less available supply indefinitely. People that are buying that are not, they're not active traders and they're buying, they're going to be holding. Historically, this signals strong confidence and often precedes rallies. Look at this. Accumulator address demand. Look at this. This is insane. Insane. From down here, sub 80, this is what, about 40,000 all the way up to over 320,000 still holding. The amount of stacking from people that have a longer vision should just make you be so scared to be a short-term player right now. Look for opportunities in these dips. Sell side liquidity. God dang it. God, I just couldn't be more bullish. So we see, I just discovered this macro Bitcoin relationship and people are bearish. Look at this. The flippening here when it flips back over right about here before this ticks up. Right when this flips over, right about here before we get that bull market. Right here, we're starting that tick back over right now. It's that next. We're preparing. Now this preparation, this is what frustrates people. This is a 3-month chart. 3 months. That's what 3M stands for. When you look at any chart, look at all the data. This next leg might not come until August or September. I'm not suggesting that's going to happen, but my point is you never know when it's going to happen. It could happen in a moment next week when the FTX $16 billion starts getting redistributed. It could just all of a sudden just boom, start shooting up. Welcome, Randy Munger, BitLab Tech. What's up? How you doing? Thank you for becoming a member here. The setup is here. We are in such a precarious place because the bullish setup is so, the excitement around it is setting people up for failure because they try to catch up to other players by every time there's a little move up, people go with 30x levers long only to have wash them back out and then they get liquidated, whether it's a portion or the entirety of your portfolio. Don't do that. This market is setting up for a move. But because it's kind of delayed on when all these orders are going to come through, the bills, if they're going to get voted on, it may take a little longer than people are expecting. But because this is on the timeline of happening, bigger players are just stacking in. Shit, World Liberty Fi added 86,000. They doubled their ETH holdings the other day, and people think ETH is dead. No, that's not the case. I'm new to DeFi lending, you say. I don't know what that means, but shout out to you. Stack DeFi. Yeah. Man, guys, let's get into it. We got some more data to go over. What happened? There we go. Then we got here, Bitcoin buy signal potentially flashing. The buy range. This is price, the 1 week to 1 month and what's happening. And what basically the aggregate realized price of the 1 week to 1 month, basically 1 week to 4 week holders. So it's like a realized price of these sort of short term, but right in that sort of medium range, right? But every time it dips into this, it's presented a buy opportunity for those shorter term traders. Boom, boom. But in this case, this really launched it. Look at this, pushed up. We're kind of getting in that zone, but notice this doesn't mean it's immediately going to go up. Look how long this went. This went from the half of December all the way into the first half of January, right? Point being is, if you're a bull, you're going to see all bullish signals and you're going to do you're going to do silly things that are going to mess up your portfolio, your profitability, how much you're holding. If you realize on the time basis over this year into 2026, how much liquidity is going to be pouring into the crypto ecosystem, then again, we will celebrate these moments right now and take the advantage. Why is my nose itching? So what else we got? Coinbase Flow Pulse. Okay, Coinbase Flow Pulse here. Bitcoin inflows and outflows. People putting coins on exchange because they're likely going to sell, or people moving coins off exchange because they're preparing to hold longer, right? Currently, a bullish phase prevails, driven by strong institutional interest, the absence of significant red zones like we see all right here. No large-scale outflows typically seen in a bear market when capital shifts from the spot market to futures. So what we're seeing here is this predominantly bullish trend. Not only you can see it because the price is going up, but this is a lot of inflows, a little bit of outflows right here. What did it precede? The drop. What did it precede? The drop. Okay, what did this kind of precede? Confusion here. This was the speculation into the ETF and then the little bit of sell-off, but then this is dominated by green. Outflows, right? Bull market. And where we're at right now, we're still well within this. In fact, if we come over here and we kind of look at where we're at on the days since cycle bottom, where are we relative to the last two cycles? This pink line that you see flashing, this is our current cycle right here. This is a 2017 cycle right here. This is the last cycle, 2021. We're kind of right in the mix of exactly where we're supposed to be, and yet people are still, despite all of this, you see this overlaid with previous cycles. This is from the lowest point in the market cycle, measuring from that days forward. And look at this. We split the difference perfectly. This had a deviation down. This had a deviation up. We're kind of right in the middle. Again, right here in the middle. We're completely on pace. We're just impatient as a mother. Because we see what's coming, we expect it to happen now. Stack, baby, stack. And then what else we got? This is what you need to prepare for. Bitcoin coiling up. The king is consolidating. Volume is drying up. The bigger the squeeze, the bigger the breakout. Yes. Which way do you think it goes? In fact, it might go both ways. We've been talking about that in this market a lot, where you get these moves. Let's go out to like 6 hour, where you get these moves. You see where it did break down. Oh, let me draw this green. Okay, there we go. So we get the washout, right? It's crashing. Trap those people. Oh, it's breaking out. Trap those people, and comes back to center. It's still deciding if it wants to do that again, or if it wants to actually break up, trap people, come down, and determine whether bulls are strong enough to continue or have the breakdown. The market is very sensitive right now because there's heightened emotions about where people think this can go. I'm kind of leaning into the opinion now that we will get one more move to the downside. Now, will it come right into the zone, or will it come down to the zone and actually wash out down into the, mid to low 80s? I don't know. The market is very precarious right now because all of the economic impacts that are happening in the market that are outside of Bitcoin, with the different tariffs and what the plan is going to be, what's going on with Gaza, what's going on, the retroactive tariffs that Trump just announced today, what's going to go on with inflation. We just had the jobs numbers revised up from December, but then are we going to get a rate? The money is in this kind of uncertain zone right now where it's bullish, but everybody's like, okay, it's like you want to put money in, and then it's like we're in this almost like this first 180 days of this new administration where everything's kind of getting the framework flowing for what's going to be for the next 4 years. So we may have to wait through the summer before some of these massive shakeups that are happening in the economy, negotiating tactics, are shaking up uncertainty in the market. But it's not the end of the world, guys. The bullishness is still here. You just need to be prepared for either direction. And if we do get the down, let's celebrate it. It's an opportunity, guys. It's an opportunity. And then we look right here. Bitcoin correlation with the dollar index, the DXY, on weekly time frame is rolling over from the second strongest positive correlation ever. It seems that this relationship is about to diverge, and one will pump while the other dumps. Now, what does that mean? If the dollar continues pumping, Bitcoin will likely move to the downside. If this correlation, which is very strong, this is how high the correlation is here. This happened also where the dollar was pushing up in early 2016 and 2017. Bitcoin was rising at the same time that the dollar was rising. But then imagine the strength that was needed from Bitcoin to do that. And you can see it's evident because the second the dollar reversed, which is right here, the value of the dollar started to drop. What happened to the speed of the bullish impulse here in the market? It accelerated, meaning you see this curving up into that bullish parabola. Similar thing happened, right? I mean, this is kind of the weird section here because we have that rise up. Now evidence shows that China was selling a lot of their crypto here, but this was the global economic shutdown. So we're looking this as a correlation for what's going on in this cycle here. Look at this correlation, very high. Bitcoin rose almost 100% since September here, but the dollar also rose pretty strongly as well. If the dollar reverses here, imagine what also happens to Bitcoin. I think it will be that impulse that really drives us higher. And then, of course, we see a couple major bullish things yesterday. I shared some tweets. Link is going live with Swift in Q4. This was from a discussion here. He's talking about it. I don't want to play the whole minute. He said it's probably going to be at the end of this year, maybe as late as early next year. But Swift, if Chainlink is integrating with Swift and that is going live, they do $7.5 trillion in volume daily. And if that's going to be operating with the Link protocols, and then you also see what's the other one right here, DTCC. Settles USA stock market. They handle all those transactions. $3 quadrillion in yearly volume. And they say that Link is important and will allow them to move everything on chain. So you consider these two things in the traditional finance world. And then you consider like World Liberty Finance yesterday on the ONDO Summit said specifically, it said, what's happening in the crypto ecosystem and where we're moving into would not be possible without Chainlink. And then you think about that ONDO Summit and you realize that they also, I mean, some of these things that they posted, it's just ridiculous. Some of their, look at this, some of their partners, contributing partners, BlackRock, BNY Mellon, MasterCard, Google, Morgan Stanley, Fidelity, Franklin Templeton, PayPal, McKinsey, Wellington Management, Wisdom Tree. And you're not bullish on ONDO? And then you come over here and you see, where is it? Something else I wanted to share here. So BlackRock is launching a Bitcoin exchange traded product in Europe. This is something different. Sorry, I thought this was the ONDO. Where is it at? ONDO. Then you see World Liberty Finance buying ONDO. I mean, the setup that we have moving forward is so overwhelmingly bullish. It makes me literally giggle and sad at the same time that people are frustrated here because you see things like, okay, the others chart, it did break down a bit. We got the little bit of a washout down right into the zone that we saw here. This is basically everything outside the top 10. Washout down, okay, coming back up into the zone. There's a pretty good likelihood that this is a bear flag. If this were to happen, this would be another pretty large move. Now, will it get the move all the way down into here? This would be catastrophic for anybody that is predominantly in altcoins. If that happens, a 30% move on the index, I'm just trying to measure it to there. Yeah, 30% move on this others index would represent 40%, 80%, 90% on some of those altcoins you're holding. Now, if that were to happen, I would suggest this would probably find support somewhere in this region, getting a little bit higher low. But I'm saying this so you could be prepared if it were to happen. I also want you to realize when the market gets to this point right now where it feels like there's no interest, the volume has dropped, these things have pulled back, you're getting ready to capitulate. That's also the recipe for when the market completely reverses and says, you guys thought we were going down, and you just get that moonshot to the upside. So I'm talking about the bearish case so that you're prepared in case that happens. Now, does that mean you're supposed to capitulate here? No, if you've been holding this and been going, I cannot advise you on what to do. But this tells me that if you really believe in a project or a narrative or, one of the assets that you're in, then this tells you that if this drops down into these zones, like for instance, ONDO is a great example. If ONDO washes back out down to here, massive net buyer for me if that happens. If this is able to hold here after that summit, remember, it tends to be buy the rumor, sell the news. So if this does pull back down here, I'd like to see this hold above this $1.20 range. If it comes down into here, I think it might likely even come a little bit lower, about dollar, maybe sub dollar. But I'm overwhelmingly bullish on this into the next year and beyond. So this makes me excited if this were to happen. Does that mean I'm selling any of the ONDO I have now? No, it just means I'll lower my average entry if it comes into that. If this is able to push up into here and continue on, then great. As it stands right now, it's everything's kind of waiting on the certainty in the markets. We saw Aerodrome. I mean, look at this, just kind of pinching in. We kind of have a bit of a falling wedge here or a falling channel. You know, if this continues, because this is rounding out, if this is able to find support in here and not break further down, then this, you know, we have an opportunity for this to trap people. Yes, it's not just going to go like this. This will likely push up like this, trap people. This would probably do something like this before it moved to the upside. The sentiment shot right now. So whatever move we get, we'll take an initial move, a washout move, people get scared again, you consolidate a bit before you actually get the move. Do realize that this is just par for the course. XRP, it's kind of giving back some of its gains, but look at where it came from. It came from all the way down here at 40 cents. It's still up here at 244. There's it's speculation about Brad Garlinghouse maybe on the crypto committee or crypto advisory committee, whatever, in the White House. There's ETFs that are, with the SEC now for potential approval. With where this is, massive wick came back up, but it's kind of looking weak here. I'd be looking for opportunities kind of stacking at this level. If it goes lower, then I'd be looking for another opportunity to stack down here in the $1.50 range. Now, why would I stack here if I think it's going to go there? Because we don't know how deep a dip's going to go. You ladder your entry. You put some of your dry powder in here, and if it does drop a little further, and this is on a position or a midterm, longer-term trade, then you add another position in here, and you get the average price of these, so your average entry is roughly here rather than just up here. If you're trading this, then you can put, your limit order in here with the stop loss about 1 to 3% below that, depending on your X. If you're on leverage, then you have to take into account what your leverage is when you're considering, because if you have a 3% stop loss, but you're on 10X leverage, that's 30% loss, right? So you want to tighten your stop loss if you're on leverage. The point being here is, I think the market is trying its best to get people to get into the capitulation mindset, only to have it reverse. But I am looking to take advantage of any of those lower prices on these altcoins as we're looking at it. SUI also had that sort of massive run up, rising channel that we have. Rising channel that we have here broke down. Now this has come all the way down. Look at where this tested, previous range high. You're wondering where this is going to go to? It came right to previous range high. Now this looks like it's trying to reverse, but look, bearish, 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 to neutral. Mostly bearish signals that we're seeing here. Now, does that mean it's going to break down? No, this is on the 12-hour. Let's get out of the 4-hour. This looks like it's trying. We had that big wick, but looks like it's trying to round out. I'd be very skeptical here. I'd be waiting for this to pick a direction. Everything's waiting on a direction to be picked. Litecoin, it's kind of in the news lately with the potential ETF, but let's get out here. Look at this massive consolidation back here since March 2022 in this zone. We had a little deviation below, but now look, we've got the deviation above. It's really trying to hold on to this zone. If this comes back down, I'd be looking for an opportunity here in this range, this $85 to $90 range. But underlying bullishness in this, especially with institutional players, knowing that an ETF's on the horizon for this. Tau sold off pretty big, and it's remember we sold. I shared it with the community. I sold Tau somewhere in the this 450 range, like right in here on a bounce up here. And it felt, it's going to go. Nope, drop back down. Came back up. I was like, it's going to run away from me. No, come back down. I'm still debating more so than the highly speculative AI stuff If I move back into AI when I next DCA into the market, it might be back into something like Tau, which the price has dropped. I mean, that's not a small drop, you know. Hold on, from 450. That's a 50% drop. I could spend 50% amount of the money to have the same amount of stuff I had before, or I could spend the same amount of money I had before and get almost twice as much. So then what else we got? We got Avalanche. Avalanche needs to be on people's radar because it's in that list of approved assets in Hong Kong, assets that are legal to buy and trade. This has given up a lot of gains coming all the way up here. Golly, look at that, 60% down to that wick, and where we're at right now, 55% down. I'm still very bullish on this, especially in the RWA narrative and the sort of institutional partnerships. I still think Avalanche is going to have some really good deals that come in here. If we extend this out here, extend that out, look at that. So support, wick down, but it's just the setups aren't there. Everything's in that frustrating mode. I mean, Render sold this up here. Look at this, just been bleeding since. It's just patience time right now, everybody. H-bar also still looking good, but gave back some of the gains. Where did it come back to? Right into where these tops came in. Constellation DAG. Everything's given a lot of gains back, but the conviction plays look coming right into this zone for these bounces, this top. Everything's coming into zones that if you're excited on prices up here on an asset that you believe in, and it's come back to here, even if you're holding from up here, you can lower your average entry, or you're just gonna have to sit on your hands. Aave broke. Look at this deviation up, came back, tried another bull trap, came back down, bear trap. Where'd the wick come to? Boom, previous range tops. So I think we're kind of at a cusp. We're at a cusp right now. It's alt season will not be like before. There are too many and will dilute the money. I think that's a little true. I think we're going to see some major gains for some, some midterm smaller players, but there's going to be some that just don't come back. I don't know what's going to happen with the AI narrative. I'm still very bullish on AI, but I'm starting to adjust my view on it because as AI develops, there's going to always be newer, better, more cutting edge stuff. And how quick are those things going to come out and dominate a narrative? I don't know. So I'm kind of sitting out right now while some of the deep seek stuff kind of gets sorted out. I think AI is still going to be a super, very important narrative this cycle and beyond. But as things are bleeding right now, it's like, okay. Now with the top players, when we're looking at everything in the market, let's go to my watch list here. I think the dominant is going to be, stuff that's here in I would say the top 50, maybe beyond that into the top 75-ish. But yeah, predominantly, I think Render is still going to have a great purpose. I think it's going to do well. FET, ASI, artificial superintelligence, I think still going to do well. Filecoin, decentralized file storage, I think I think this is going to pick up some steam. I just don't really like the tokenomics all that much. Optimism, I think, is going to do great, especially with their super chain. Injective, kind of in the AI narrative, but also with what they do with liquidity in their protocol is pretty awesome. You come back over here, Polkadot, I think is going to do well. There's an ETF out, application for that. ONDO, I think, is going to be up here in the top 10 in the near-ish future, by the end of this cycle. Tau, I think, is still going to do well because of the type of marketplace it is for development of AI and the AI ecosystem. Algo is going to do great. It's in that made in the USA. Aave is part of the legacy part within crypto, legacy DeFi. A lot of money in that. Also, World Liberty Finance stacking into that. Near Protocol. I still think this is going to do well. They are kind of in the very crowded space of AI and layer ones, though. But I do know from talking to their team, they're supposed to have this major AI upgrade development thing that's going to be rolling out. I just haven't heard anything about it in 6 months. So I'm kind of a little on the fence about what to do there, which is why I moved out of that for the time being. And I've concentrated into mostly ONDO, Chainlink, Aerodrome, And then I have the Constellation DAG and my dog. Let's look at dog real quick. Everybody's, still in the setup. Look at this, still perfectly in the setup. Kind of here in this buy zone, kind of came down low. But don't forget, remember, when we're looking at this compared to Pepe, and why am I comparing it to Pepe? Mostly because we're looking at the chart structure here. Let's go ahead and minimize this. The chart structure here of this sort of roundingness, this impulse up, the breakdown into the roundingness, the impulse up. See, first one here, the next one here into the falling wedge, and this kind of bounced right at the buy zone. This is a little below, but look at all these bullish divergences on dog. And then what happened next for Pepe? Oops. We see this, boom, did a 10x from there, had a bit of a pullback, and then from there had another 6x from that pullback. Pretty big gains. When you zoom out on that, it's I think I measured the whole thing. It's just, this is where people start to give up. And this, I mean, I might even layer into this again in about a week when I start doing another allocation. But I do think the dog narrative, for the people, by the people, no paid KOLs, every token is out. It was all airdropped on the day that they released. Then it was airdropped to all the early runes holders, and now it's gone up to like 100,000 wallets. There's no inflation because every token is out, and it's essentially inscribed Satoshis on Bitcoin. And they're not on any major exchange yet. I get mine on MEXC, but you can also swap your Bitcoin on the Xverse wallet for dog. But I know like Matthew Hyland still got incredibly high conviction on it. I know Dan Gambardello from Crypto Capital Venture, Mark Yusko, hedge fund manager, is super bullish on it, really likes it a lot. There's a lot of major players out there, and the community's strong. I mean, the community is super strong. If I come over here into my notifications, I'll show you. Dog, such an incredibly bullish setup. Talked about this, 82,000 views. That's more than I get on anything that I post. There's another one here. Hold on. Talk about, this is, where is, hold on one second. Notifications. There we go. Okay. Here we go. I just retweeted another guy. This got another 39,000. Well, why is that important? Because it shows you how absolutely rabid the community is. It's regularly on Lunar Crush's top coins of social mentions. And that matters as things roll out, and how loud a community can get. So, do your own research. But the market, guys, I'm so bullish on this. Let's hope we get a dip. Let's all be celebrating if we get a dip. Rather than being crybabies like the rest of the market, let's take advantage of a dip if we get it. And if not, we've already been stacking. Right now, we might just need to be patient. And I do think the upside is going to blow us away when it does come. The question is going to be when, because there's so much writing on this happening. There's so much over exuberance and expectation on every press conference and every. But we have the framework here. We have the foundation. We have the slingshot has been loaded. The question is, can you hang on? But I love you guys. I appreciate you. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. Let's go. Head over to Blockchain Basement. I love you guys. Let's see. Did we get any super chats or anything? I just want to make sure I didn't miss. Falco with the member 5 months. Tacos, new member. Shout out. I appreciate you guys. Have a wonderful day. We're in the dip right now. Yeah, this is a baby dip. We had 11 dips of 15 to 50% in 2017. This is not a dip. This is a sideways consolidation. But hey, guys, let's get it, man. Let's hold each other accountable in bullish positivity. Be smart. Be smart money, not dumb money. I love you guys. Adios.